Welcome back to the homestead. So this is take two. I have a hard time winging stuff. I'm much better at organizing my thoughts when I write it down first. So I'm going to redo that last post I had. And this is all about things to consider when getting ready to bring livestock onto your homestead. Whether it's your first time with livestock, period, if it's a new animal that you're adding to your homestead, to your farm, here's the way we approach it. Obviously, there's more than one way to skin a cat, but I feel like these are really important points to keep in mind. So the first concept is your why. Why do you want livestock in general? Why do you want this livestock? You need to have your why well defined and thought out, because you will have obstacles. You will hit rough patches, and if you want to be in this for the long haul, having that why up in the forefront of your mind will really help you soldier through as you hit those rough patches in the road. So your why. Our why is twofold. It's wholesome food as well as freedom. Freedom in the sense that we can reduce our dependence on the system. Sorry about that. So, you know, we want to reduce our need on the system, whether that's the grocery store, whether that's the supermarket, you know, retail stores, anything like that. So with that in mind, that's how I choose what breeds and what type of animals I want to add to the farm. For instance, rabbits. I chose rabbits for a few different reasons. One, a source of meat, first and foremost. Two, the fur I can use for our frigid winters, whether that's blankets, winter garments, and their poop is a cold manure that I can continuously add to our garden and beds all over throughout the whole year without fear of it burning my plants. So the rabbit is truly a multi-purpose animal. Now, choosing your breed is really going to depend on what works best for your situation. And then, for instance, the chickens we chose, which are Dominiques. They are what's considered dual-purpose breed. We're using them for layers. They're just starting to lay. We did get them as chicks, but they're also meat birds, as well as during colonial times, because their feathers are so soft, so soft. The feathers were used for stuffing pillows, mattresses, and things like that. So another multi-purpose breed. And now we're looking to get into dairy. Again, whether you choose goats or cows, that's going to be dependent on your situation. We have a very small space. We have 2 acres. So we don't have a lot of space for storage, for housing, for feeding the animal off the property. So we are going to go with goats. And goat is quite delicious, just like beef. It's very comparable. So that's another multi-purpose animal. There you have your dairy products, meat if you can't sell off the kids, or a possible income if you can sell off the kids, or calves, whichever one you decide to raise. And then, of course, if you do put them in the freezer, there's another source. There's a hide. There's another source of clothing, of something that you can use beyond the life of the animal. That old adage or saying that says an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, that is absolutely true. And when it comes to livestock, when you don't have any yet, or you don't have that new one yet, part of that prevention is twofold. It's research and preparation. Okay? So before you bring any animal onto your property, make sure that you have researched this particular animal and even the particular breed, because some breeds, when it comes to chickens, some, and goats and pigs, any breed, some are more resilient than others when it comes to different diseases, different pests, and those are things that you should know beforehand. So that way, should you face this problem, or should you face some problems, you know how to take care of it. So research the breed, research the animal, research what it takes to care for these animals on a day-to-day basis, as well as what kind of emergency situations you may have to deal with. Whether it's a chicken being egg-bound, or you have to assist a goat in birth because the kid is coming out backwards or something like that. Also, research what it's going to take to house them, what it's going to take to feed them, and that'll not only ensure that you are as mentally prepared as you can be for this new venture, it'll save you a lot of heartache, because half-assed attempts, half-assed preparation will only cost you money and will only break your heart. So research, research, research. Also, keep in mind, research only gets you so far. I mean, you talk to farmers and homesteaders who have been doing this their whole life. Ignore the kids in the background. And they're still learning new things about these animals that they've been caring for their entire life. So don't expect that you'll know everything. You will still come across situations that you have no idea how to handle. But that's why it's also good if you can, for whatever reason, it's hard to find, but try to make sure that you know where a vet is if you need one. When it comes to the large livestock like cows and horses and stuff like that, it is going to be difficult to transport them to a vet. Do not bring in your animals if you do not have housing ready. If you're going to need fencing for them, or tractors for free ranging, do not bring them in until you have those. Do not bring them in before you have a dedicated source of feed. All of that is going to save you so much time and heartbreak if you have that all prepped and ready. Even if there's this great deal, you could save a bunch of money on this animal. If you are not ready, do not bring that animal in. It will only cause the animal suffering. Also, when you think of how you're going to house your animal, consider not only your climate, but what predators are in your area. Okay? Figure out what kind of preventative steps you need to take to keep those types of animals out. So once you have all of those set in place and ready to go, now we can think about bringing in the livestock. And there's a few different ways you can approach that. So you can purchase animals when they're very young, when they're babies, which will save you money up front, but you will just have to take into consideration the time it's going to take to care for them, waiting for them to reach maturity. For instance, we got our chickens as chicks back in June, and it is now February, and they are just beginning to lay. So throughout most of the summer, we let them kind of wander and range and didn't have to put in a lot of money into feed, but throughout the winter we have, and we're just starting to see a return for that. So what's nice about starting with young animals as well, is that gives you a chance to get to know your animals and bond with them and set up your hierarchical positions. You know, let them know that you are the one in charge. You don't want your animals running over you. When it comes to chickens, actually ours are like little toddlers. They're always underfoot and they're adorable. Whereas the rabbits, they each have their own personality, but there's not a dominance issue. So those are the positive sides to it. The downside, like I said, is the time it takes to wait for them to reach maturity. And if it's a goat, then you got to wait for their pregnancy. Rabbits, not so much. Their gestation is only about 28 to 32 days. So it's not that long of a wait. The next approach you can take is getting a mature animal. You know, they're still relatively young, but they are mature and ready to produce, whether that's ready to breed. And then so it'll cost you a little bit more, but you won't have to wait as long to see a return on that investment. You can have a little bit of a transition period. You know, they are almost full grown. They have a set personality, and now they're in a new area with new people. So you have to give them that time to adjust, let them adjust to you. So you may want to take some time before you start breeding those animals. And then the third option is actually the one that we're taking with goats, which is going to be the most expensive way to approach this, and that's to get proven stock. Animals that have proven their worth through breeding and producing and successfully raising offspring. So for the goats, you know, that'll run you about $500 a piece. So it can get expensive, but the way we approach our farm and our homestead is that it's an investment. It's an investment in ourselves, in our family, and in our future. So knowing that I have absolutely no experience with goats, it helps to put my mind at ease that at least one of us will know what we're doing if we bring in goats. So I am going to bring in proven stock, hopefully pregnant, and get started. So you have a much better chance of being successful in that endeavor if they're already proven. Things could still go wrong, but your chances are better. So like I said, this lifestyle is an investment, and that's how you need to look at it. If you want a good return on that investment, you need to do your research and prepare. Otherwise, you're just throwing money out the window. So I hope this helps put things into perspective, gets the ball rolling, and ideas coming through. Until next time.